Okay. I do want to start my reflection by just noticing that the mountain in scriptures is often seen as sort of a thin place where human beings can encounter God more closely. It's such a great and physical image of how the ancient world saw uh, the kind of the geography of the universe, right? That we were here on the earth and up above us was heaven. And if we were on a mountain, we were closer to heaven. Uh, but but metaphorically, I think it and realistically in our own lives, it gives us a chance. Like mountains help us see the world more clearly. We can see farther away. We can see beyond our, what we're usually confined to see, just not just a few feet or a few 100 yards. If we're up on a mountaintop or a huge hill, we can see for miles. We can see so much more clearly. And then again, I think we see that metaphor throughout the scriptures. It's on the Mount of Horeb where Elijah hears God's whisper, experiences God in a whisper. It's on this Mount Sinai, same mountain, different name, where Moses encounters God for 40 days and gets the insight of the commandments. It's on the in Matthew's gospel. It's on the Mount of Olives where Jesus gives the Beatitudes. It's just clear. His summarizes all of his teachings. So mountain is this place of a little clearer vision in the scriptures, a little clearer seeing for teaching or for encountering, but a little clearer vision. And so I just want to say, I was many, many years ago, gosh, maybe about 20 now. I was a pretty young priest and just kind of struggling with just all the demands of a busy parish life, and trying to get my own life figured out and trying to get, do a 50, 50 weddings a year and funerals and youth group and basketball and all this stuff. And I'd gone with some friends to go skiing for a couple of days off. It was really fun and really, really cool. And I just remember being on top of some big old mountain in Colorado, looking out over all these mountains and all the snow and thinking, if somehow in the universe there's a love big enough to create this, that love is probably big enough to get me through what I'm going through. That all that beauty, sunshine and snow and trees and mountaintops. If there was something that was so loving that could create beauty over this vast expanse, probably my little old troubles were going to be okay too. Even if it didn't turn out like I thought they would, or even if I didn't get everything I wanted, or that somehow I seemed like I could see further. Maybe in that moment I could trust a little further too. Somehow, even if I couldn't control all the outcomes like I wanted to, that it would still be okay because I was still going to be loved. I was still going to be like nothing could change. Even if I didn't get things didn't work out and I didn't get this done or that done, I could see a little further, both geographically and metaphorically in my heart, that I was going to be loved. I was going to be okay. And I think maybe that's one of the disciplines of Lent that we don't always go to. Which we're so Catholic sometimes. We think about what we're giving up and maybe even what we're doing, all of which are great. Don't eat sweets or do more charitable acts. All wonderful things if they're connected to your relationship to the Lord. But but I just want to posit tonight as we begin Lent that maybe these Lenten activities are about really seeing and feeling in our bodies. It's one thing to know it in my brain, but like to feel it in my body, my chest and my belly and my legs, my lovedness, that my embracedness, and to sit with that and to use these 40 days, perhaps, to be on that mountain of our belovedness and hear that voice spoken to the human one who's in the scriptures stands in our place, and thus to hear the voice of our creator say to us, you are beloved. Listen, the instruction that we are given to listen to our own hearts, our own bodies, to listen to one another as as mutually beloved. Hear deeply what someone's saying, to hear how they're hurting, to hear what's happening to them, what they're going through, and to hear that about yourself. Not so that then we can't also set good boundaries or have goals or be ambitious, but to put a beautiful wrapper around whatever goals or boundaries we have to set, not in anger or angst, but in care for ourselves, for others, to live in that belovedness, to see a little more clearly, and to be responsible. How do we treat someone who is beloved? How do we treat someone that we love or who loves us? And so to see both the gift and the hear the call of that from this mountain. I think it's for me when I hear about the Transfiguration, it's just important for me to remember at least that Jesus. I mean, Jesus didn't really change. Jesus was always who Jesus was, but on that mountain, in that moment, they could see Jesus more clearly. And that's what I feel like we're called to do in Lent, is to see more clearly who we are as beloved, as loving, as members of a beloved community. And then to be make our behaviors a little more reflective of that reality. How is how I treat my coworkers reflective of my belovedness and their belovedness? How is how I treat myself reflective of my belovedness? How is how I talk to my spouse or my kids or my colleagues reflective of that? And can I institute maybe some habits or some goals around reflecting that belovedness more accurately, showing it, mirroring it more fully? I think that's what I think that's the when I think about this vision. Um, that's what comes to mind for Lent. And I also think it's worth noting, and then I'm gonna end because I want to have plenty of time to talk, for you to talk to each other and for us to talk together. But that's notice it's just this strangest part of the whole story. Peter's like, oh, I want to stay here. I want to stay here in my belovedness. And Jesus, of course, doesn't allow it. Instead, he says, no. We gotta now that we see it, we gotta go be accountable to it. We gotta go live into it, not just to others, but to each other. And so we don't just stay in the knowledge. We don't just hoard the knowledge. Oh, let's the four of us just stay here in our little place where we can be beloved together. No, let's go out and we need to share that belovedness, to live in that belovedness. Has there ever been a time? I'm sure this maybe it's a rhetorical question in our country's life, at least in recent years, where we needed a more consistent expression of our mutual belovedness? Has there ever been a time where the world needed more expressions and consistent sharing of our universal belovedness? I'm not sure.